Have you ever really stopped and wondered what the world actually looks like through your dog's eyes? Because I guarantee you, the answer is so much more complex and honestly, way more incredible than you probably imagine.
So, let's just get right to it. Let's tackle the biggest question out there, the one everybody asks. Is it true? Is your dog's entire life just one long, classic black and white movie?
Yeah, not even close. That idea is one of the biggest, most persistent myths in the entire animal world. So today, we're going to throw that myth out the window and replace it with some absolutely incredible science. Okay, so while that black and white idea is a total bust, their world of color is, well, it's just built differently than ours. They're not missing all the colors, just a really specific and important slice of the rainbow.
So the sciencey term for this is dichromatic vision. The easiest way to think about it is like this. We humans have a big box of crayons with three main color receptors, red, green, and blue. Dogs, they've got a smaller box with just two, which tunes their entire world into this really beautiful spectrum of blues and yellows.
And listen, this isn't just a guess. We know this because of a landmark study back in 1989 by three researchers, Neitz, Jacobs, and Geist. They were the ones who actually proved, scientifically, that dogs have these two types of color-seeing cone cells. This study completely shattered decades of that old black and white myth.
This chart here breaks down the key differences perfectly. You can see right away their two cone types are most sensitive to light in the blue and the yellow-green parts of the spectrum, but check this out. Look at their visual acuity. Where we have that nice sharp 20/20 vision, the average dog has something more like 20/75. So what does that mean? It means an object we can see clearly from 75 feet away, they'd have to be just 20 feet away to see it with the same level of detail.
So how can we actually picture what they're seeing? Well, the best comparison comes from a 2017 behavioral study at the University of Bari, which confirmed that a dog's view of the world is remarkably similar to that of a person with red-green colorblindness. So, you know that bright red squeaky ball you bought for them? To your dog, it probably just looks like a kind of murky brownish-yellow blob. But here's the thing. What dogs might lack in color variety, they more than make up for in other areas. In fact, when the lights go down, their vision isn't just a little better than ours. It's practically a superpower.
And their secret weapon? It's this incredible piece of biological engineering called the tapetum lucidum. Just try to picture a tiny, perfectly polished mirror sitting right behind their retina. It's designed for one job, and one job only, to capture every single last particle of light.
So here's how this marvel of nature works. Light enters the eye, passes through the retina, and then bam, it hits this mirror. Instead of getting absorbed and lost, that light gets bounced back through the retina, giving all those photoreceptor cells a second chance to catch it. This is exactly what causes that spooky, glowing eye shine you see when you take a flash photo. And here's a super cool little fact. While it's a yellowish green in adult dogs, in puppies under 4 months old, that eye shine is actually blue.
Okay, so they're amazing in the dark, but their visual advantages don't just stop when the sun comes up. When it comes to seeing things that are moving, dogs see the world with a crisp, fluid clarity that we humans literally cannot register. This amazing ability is measured by something called the flicker fusion frequency. Now, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's the speed at which a bunch of flashing images start to blend together into what looks like smooth, continuous motion. The higher that number is, the more individual frames you can see every second. For a dog, that number is right around 75 Hertz. That means they can process about 75 distinct images every single second before they start blurring together. It's a key part of what makes them such amazing hunters and athletes.
Now let's put that in perspective. Our human threshold, we top out somewhere between 50 and 60 Hertz. Research, like a study by Coelho and his team way back in 1989, established this huge gap. It means that a tiny mouse darting through the grass, something that might just be a blur to us, is seen by a dog as a clear, trackable sequence of movements.
So what does this higher processing speed mean for a dog living in our modern world? Well, have you ever wondered if your dog is actually watching TV with you? Since most of our screens refresh at about 60 Hertz, which is right at or even below their threshold, what we see as a smooth movie might just look like a stuttering, flickering slideshow to them. All right, we've covered color, night vision, and motion. But what about how they see the single most important thing in their world? Us. More specifically, our faces. And this is where the very latest science has revealed something that, well, nobody saw coming.
This is brand new stuff. A study from the Meserly Research Institute in late 2024 used some incredibly sophisticated eye tracking technology to map out, for the very first time, exactly where a dog's gaze lands when they look at a human face. And you know what? The results were not at all what anyone predicted.
Here's the key finding right from the paper. While we humans instinctively look right at the center of a face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the study found that a dog's very first glance went somewhere else entirely. They focused on what the researchers called the upper half area of interest. So, what in the world does that mean?
Well, it means that instead of locking onto our eyes first, like we do with each other, their brain's initial strategy is to take in the bigger picture. Their first glance is to the whole upper half of our head, our forehead, our hairline, the general structure. You can think of it like their brain is taking a quick, holistic snapshot of us before it zooms in on the details, like what our expression is. It is a fundamentally different way of seeing a person.
So when we put all of these pieces together, we move so far beyond that simple, outdated myth of a black and white world. We get a picture of a visual reality that's totally alien to us, and in many ways, far superior.
So, let's recap. We've learned that a dog's world is painted in a beautiful palette of blues and yellows. It's a world where a moonless night is actually bright and easy to navigate. It's a world where a thrown ball is tracked in stunning high-definition clarity, and it's a world where our own faces are read with this wide initial scan we never even knew was happening.
So the next time your dog stares intently at you, or spots a tiny squirrel from 100 yards away, or seems to navigate a dark room with impossible ease, you'll know exactly why. This isn't just an animal's vision. It's a finely tuned sensory experience, completely different from our own. So my question to you is this: now that you know how they truly see the world, what will you see differently in them?